of Kittens and Broken Things. Chapter 25.
Garrus came slowly to the realization that he was going to be very late for work. First reason was that his brain was shattered after yesterday and moving around inside his head was painful. The second reason was that Kara was in his arms. He silenced his alarm and shifted her closer to him, the sound having woken her enough to rustle but not to rouse. He brushed his knuckles over the side of her throat, pressed mouth plates to the back of her neck. Limieth, wake up.
Why?
Because I said so. He squeezed her along her waist and hips, pulling her back against his body.
Okay. That sounds like a good enough reason.
I realized something out of everything that happened yesterday that I can't let stand. Krios asked me to respect your boundaries, but he said he would try to convince you to sleep with me.
She squinted her eyes closed and said, He... What? He said that? In those words?
Yes, he said some things about the inevitability of bond and biology, and he's not wrong. I can't seem to stop chipping away at you, and you are, despite all your efforts, easily chipped. He moved his hand to glide along her hip. We're very close to a fracture plane here. It would only take a little slip when we're both trying to hold back more than enough force to do it. It could come from either of us at any time. Hell, at this point, it could come in my sleep. This is not a new point, by the way.
I'm also guilty. Not the sleep thing. Not enough expertise.
I had a bunch of terribly unpleasant conversations yesterday, but I need to be absolutely clear here. I don't understand it all, but it may be that he wanted me to count on him to convince you. For me, I can't allow that. If there's convincing to be done, which I can't do because he says he'd kill me, you understand the position he's put me in, the position you both put me in, because, granted, I screwed up. But I haven't screwed up by loving you. I won't screw up by not trusting you. I don't want anything he says privately held against me later, where 3 months from now he says your bondmate expected me to get you into his bed.
And if he expected you to tell me immediately, save him the trouble of bringing it up himself, get us to talk about it with his spin of inevitability, which is not wrong.
Well, that's terrible. And I didn't think of that. And I'm really, really irritated that you did. He proved that by nibbling on her neck and making growling noises until she laughed harder. But if that's true, mission accomplished. I am also on board with his inevitability thing. And now there are 2 strong votes against your weak one. There's a majority. But I won't collude with him. I will carry forward his logic, though. Did Krios really just manipulate him into bringing up a subject in his own interest? Her interest? Their interest? Not Krios' interest. Again? His brain still hurt. Was there any possibility that Krios thought he wouldn't tell Kara? No loss for Krios either way, once Kara had taken a look at it anyway. Fuck that guy.
But you're going to respect that I need to stay Shepard, and you need to stay counselor?
I'm going to do my best, Limieth, but sometimes it feels like you're asking me to do my best to be an alpaca. I can try. I may not succeed. Alpaca or die is a terrible choice.
I have no strategic use for alpaca. Where did you learn about them?
I'm a counselor. I learn things, trade agreements, useful animals, strategic animals. Entirely beside the point, by the way. I am in an impossible position.
She shifted in his arms until she was looking at him, her hand stroking over his crest. The drama of disclosures and plans over, she was tired of intrigue, tired of secrets, tired of seeing anxiety in his eyes and her being beside the point. Maybe Thane had brought it up to give her impetus. Maybe he was right. Between the restrictions of Garrus's culture, the restrictions of his council position, the restrictions she had placed on him, and the revelations Thane had provided, maybe, definitely, fewer secrets were called for. Time to be brave. Time to be the right kind of brave. Tears came to her eyes, and she felt her parents' hands on her shoulders, silently urging her to do the right thing, no matter how hard. Tell the truth to the one you love. Be the truth. Her parents, two people of different temperaments and different values who had worked together to create a life of beauty and strength, urging her to follow their example fully. His thumb traced a path of a tear, and she said, "I love you." His breath left in an outrush, but the anxiety deepened in his eyes. She wondered if he was thinking she was trying to distract him. She smiled. "I love you. That's not a distraction. Okay, wherever we started, this is where we are. I love you. I don't care about how you bonded. I love you. I don't care that you're the counselor. I love you. I don't care that I'm Shepard. I love you. Those are all true. But it's also true that I have to care for all of those things, or people die. You're right. You shouldn't collude. I shouldn't collude. You are my mate. My truths belong to you. Then, together, we find a way. I'm just not good at together. Yet. I don't see a clear path. I don't want to fight with you. I know my name is Kara Fanning because I remember my parents. I remember Mindwar. My parents were the most beautiful people. Mindor was the ideal place. There I led my ideal life. I was given and was witness to ideal love. I hid them because I love them so much. I couldn't bear to have how they lived their life be a target of attack. Only I could put them up as a bullseye. I talk to them every day. I want to be like them. I want to be exactly like them. Ideal place, ideal life, ideal love. They would love you, everything you stand for, your valor and your patience and your heart. They'd be so happy for me to know I have you to love, and I am so afraid that if I don't hide you as completely from the world as I hid them, I will lose you like I lost them. I'm afraid of putting you up as a bullseye. Thane stole the surveillance of when I was first rescued. Surveillance I didn't even know existed when I lied to authorities about who I was, when Hale was just a kitten. He found out about my parents, even things I couldn't find out. Documentation and name changes. None of my secrets are bad, they're just vulnerable. On the SR-1, I thought that if you knew what I was really like, you wouldn't want to be involved with me. I thought after you bonded to me that if you knew me, you'd regret it. Or you'd abandon everything. Take me away. To give me my ideals. Keep me safe. I want to give that to you. I want what they had, and if I don't give you everything, I'm not giving you enough. I want to give you everything, but I couldn't have sex against the door, or be casual, or give you everything like I want to. I don't want you to think I'm using you for sex. I don't know how to do half of anything. All or nothing. Family means so much to me, and your bond would deny you your family, your past, your history, potentially your status and livelihood as much as slavers denied me mine, and that I can't. I don't know how. I I just don't know how. I don't want to be ashamed. I don't want to hide. I want everything for you. That is what Thane knows. That is what he stole. That is what you have every day for the rest of my life, or any life after, or any afterlife. Forever, Garrus. Yours. She added very quickly just to get it out because here it goes. And you glow.
His eyes widened through that speech and then narrowed at the last blurted, unexplained, strange. He blinked slowly once and then rolled her onto her back, his forearms down on either side of her head and his knees to either side of her hips. He was right back at the moment when she walked through the door into his office. His. Entirely his. She'd given herself to him. He knew it. Nobody would love her more. Now he understood. Except spirits who wanted to kiss her until she was melted under him, arching into him. But I glow? All the incredulousness of the last few minutes squeezed into the question.
Yes, you glow. I have something called synesthesia when things, or people, or ideas are important to me. I mean, really important. They glow. You've been glowing since you said the word Saren in the tower.
He blinked. That sounded fake, but okay, one thing at a time. More importantly, who else glows?
Thane.
Hmm. So if I'm right, you don't wish to appear crazy, ignorant, delusional, and fanatic.
Yes, but I am all of those things, depending on whether or not you believe my inspiration or my direction. Maybe even if you do.
She was all of those things. Yes, Limiyeth, you are. But it works for you. I mean, it killed you, but it also got you resurrected. And it also made me fall in love with you. He watched her face as though he would see a new person, but he knew her. He had, eventually, known her for the dancer and not the fan. He imagined he could still experience some existential horror if he felt he were bonded to someone he did not know or want. There was none of that. He wanted her more. He knew enough. He knew her. The surge of power over her invested his limbs, his mind, his cock. He pressed down on her with his abdomen to keep his plates from completely opening, which was not doing anything near its intended purpose. Fracture plane. Looking at her, he did not feel any horror. She was crazy and he loved her. She was ignorant and they could change that. Or not change that. It didn't matter any more than it had mattered that he used to not know what an alpaca was. She was delusional and it made her brave. She was fanatic and that made her love him completely. She was also intelligent, beautiful, resourceful, a unique genius made of all these elements. He realized in a surge of understanding under the rush of power exactly why she had not told him. Thane's threats were smoke, just like his threat to Russ was smoke. He wasn't colluding with her. He was colluding for her. It was not unlike the feeling in negotiation he had when he knew he had his deal, a feeling in interrogation when he knew he had his case, the moment when the scope and the trigger blended into his shot being true. He always savored those moments. This moment and feeling, long in coming, gave him the greatest rush of power he'd felt in his lifetime. Not holding a rifle, not determining life or death over another, not deciding the fate of worlds mattered more than this small, completely helpless woman under his body, his. He couldn't help it. Does Thane know that he glows?
No, and he never will.
That was the right answer. Oh, my Kara, you were so right not to tell me. He was so very right to threaten my life to try and keep me from understanding that. I have to respect your boundaries, because you don't have any. He bent his head and bit down exactly where he had marked her before. Her neck arched back, and the sound she made, pain and desire and smelling like prey that wanted him, no metal in this woman. He could pull back and look at her face, but he knew she'd be beautiful, perfect, irresistible. Instead, he tasted her skin, the blood of bond. His world flipped again, and he was on the most solid ground he'd ever had under his feet, owned by him, deeded to him, and nobody, least of all her, would ever take her away. He dragged his nose and then his tongue along the line of her jaw. He paused at her ear and said, "You were in love with me before you died. You didn't want to be. You couldn't help it."
Yes.
He smiled and licked down the tight cord of her throat. "If I dragged you out of here right now, called a camera crew, showed them your mark, my mark, and claimed you as mine before every living soul and every spirit that was ever created, you wouldn't stop me."
Yes, but please don't.
That made him laugh. She was breathless and near keening, human vocals that were easy to read. She, part of her, wanted him to do it the same way part of him could feel his muscles tense to lift her and do exactly that to prove he could. That was her real problem. That's why so much overcompensation. There were clothes between them, his plate spread, his cock pressed against the furrow of her tense thighs. Every possible fantasy he could conceive ran free in his blood and his mind. He licked a line up the center of her throat until her head was pressed back further, and he felt the keening in her throat through his tongue. "You knew I was special within seconds of seeing me. That's perfect. I'll never understand, but that's perfect. All that distance to protect me from you. So you made me a counselor, because that's what you thought I wanted, but you miscalculated, because I wanted you."
No, no. You just felt sorry for me. In her mind, he hadn't been interested in her, wasn't, until she'd gotten him the information to be executor. Could she have been wrong there? Wasn't everything he'd done up to that point just gratitude and curiosity?
Sorry? I think I'd have to kill anybody else who said that, but you're a walking exception, or in this case, lying down. Maybe you knew before I did, and congratulations. You knew, and you kept yourself far away, and maybe that's just who you are, but I knew. By the time I knocked on your cabin door, I should have asked to stay. I didn't have the courage, and maybe if I'd asked, maybe if you'd let me stay, Lemiev, you wouldn't have died. Maybe I could have protected you then."
Some internal framework of hers began to fall, shaking apart in facade and form. She had nothing to say to that, only tears, her hands moving to his head, one at the back of his fringe and the other alongside his mandible.
He moved himself to fit her hands, head tilted to the side. He shifted down, the rising curve of his fringe under her jaw. "So you hid yourself away, and I lost you." He wanted to be angry at her, wanted to, was and wasn't. She thought she wasn't good enough. Crazy, ignorant, delusional, fanatic. His. Well, she knew better now. He needn't point that out. He held still, listening to broken sobs, not moving because his plates needed to close entirely before he tried to shift position. He was thinking back to moments when she should have known, but she could have seen them as something else. She could have known when he saved her from Ashley's memorial, his idea in the first place, and told her. And told her what? "I'll protect you." He disentangled himself from being her inescapable cage, trying to channel the flooding power and revelation the right way. The right way for her. The right way for him. Though he wanted to claim her now, he wouldn't. With all that power now, he had concurrent responsibility. Fortunately and unfortunately, perspective shifting by the second, disorienting as though his life were bathed in blinding, strobing light. He sat back, pulled her unresisting into his lap, and held her as grieving sobs racked her relentlessly. His hunt was over, and she feared he'd go for the kill, and she wasn't wrong. She knew him well enough. He shared in her expressed grief for reasons of his own, skimming tears from her face with the edge of a talon. He smiled. She hadn't lied about being expensive and difficult. Limeyeth belonged to him, and she had told him that too, her gates open and trembling, with only the herald on the road in the form of her wit and a Drell. Who was what? An alternate glowing protector? Heralds to speak of her strength and power. Thane knew her strength and power would hold him off indefinitely. But not Garrus. Spirits, what do I do? He thought as she cried, pondering his new set of problems that looked much like the old ones. Only now he had more responsibility for the outcome. Then something else shook free, as so many things had been lately. He waited until her tears ended and said with another bemused expression, "What do you mean, use me for sex?"
Bleary watercolor grief was blurring through everything. Honesty. Letting him really know who he was dealing with. Right. She said, I haven't had sex.
Yeah, but isn't using people for sex the equivalent of using water for hydration?
Water is a need. Sex isn't.
How in the hell have you come to that conclusion? I tried to do some homework here. We're different. Yeah, but you have orgasms and can masturbate.
She turned her head into his chest. I don't.
He couldn't help it. So we're doubling down on the ignorance factor. How much fanatic is in this choice?
I did research. It just seemed that sex causes a lot of trouble in people's lives. I figured if I never started, it couldn't be trouble.
This is based on the idea of using?
Yes. What if the brain chemistry is like a drug? It is a drug.
The trouble is, Limeyeth, that you can't start. Of all the... He didn't have the words.
Just like reverie. It hurts when you're away. I didn't want to get started and then feel the need to use people, so I never started. I've never been interested in anybody else. I don't care if you see it as delusional or ignorant. Well, I do. It will hurt my feelings, but I can't change the idea. I want sex to be special. Not like a glass of water. You're not a faucet I turn on and off. I hate this analogy right now. Reverie is bad enough. It's wonderful. And I turn into a puddle and you could do anything you wanted.
Obviously, I can't.
Yes, you could. I already... Please. I want to stop talking.
Oh, no, no way. He thought a moment and said, "So if I did this..." He opened his arms and didn't touch her, turned his head away. "If I turn off the faucet, I mean, it's only been a steady trip. We're not getting anywhere near what I have planned. But if I, for once, stop touching you voluntarily..."
I'd hate it.
Ha! I knew it. Someone's thirsty.
I want to stop talking about it now.
No way. His arms came around her again and her head turned more solidly into the wall of his cowl. This is a good talk. I like this talk. He narrowed his eyes and said, "And you don't get angry, and you don't swear, and you have been lying."
Technically, evading.
Which is going to stop. I plan to be a need, Kara. Fortunately, turns out I am. So you're telling me even you can't tell me about your body?
Well, you wanted firsts.
First togethers, Kara. You've got your pronouns all wrong. It's not my bond. It's our bond. It's not my life or your life. It's our life. Together.
Technically, it's your bond. I can't reciprocate. Plus, you said you had to make accommodations for me being human, and you've done that. You can't have it both ways.
I can't have it anyway.
I've reciprocated the best I could. I'm not sure I could be more sorry.
Please don't aim for that. She was quiet, and her fingers tightened on his shirt. Her head turned to his chest still, spilling of more tears imminent. He really wished she'd get angry, so he could do the same. This disarming that she did was not fair. He said gently, "All right, I can't give you everything you want or need. It's not possible, but I can try. You want family and safety. You want to celebrate bond. I can give that to you. You want your purpose. You want to fight. You want me to use my resources to aid that fight. I can give that to you. I can't give you both simultaneously, but I can give you them in alternating time frames. If you were afraid I would take you away, that's for good reason. You were, and maybe still are, right, but I promise I won't. I can't give you back Mindwar. I'm so sorry for your lost parents. But we do have some place, Kara. We have Intai. We could go there. Not forever. We could go there and then I could bring you back. We'll have two separate worlds for now. Spirits, Kara, let me protect you. Let's both take what we want, and then we go do what we need to do. I can introduce you to my mother. She's my family. She'll be your family. Come with me. Spend a week in Intai with me. Have faith that I will bring you back. You said you trusted me once. I can't imagine how that's true."
I trust you to be yourself.
I don't know what that means. Sounds like a bad thing.
It isn't.
I mean this with love. We are a mess.
Granted,
Come with me.
I don't know if I'd want to come back.
He smiled and tightened his arms. "I'll come back with you. I'll go be counselor. You go be shepherd. We make those sacrifices together. Limieth, I could take you away, but part of you would be lost. I want everything too, now that you've let me know it's possible."
She tightened her fist in his shirt again, twisted, and said, "Yes."
He tilted his head down and pressed his crest to her hair. "You'll like my mother. This time just a video conference. But we'll visit, okay? First Intai, then Palaven, and wherever you want. We can visit Hale. When we can, we take a week. Only a week. Then we take the strength we have from what we want, bring it back to what we need. Okay? Let me help with your non-existent boundaries. That's never getting old." "I don't have a bonding ceremony to perform, but I promise my mother's blessing. Is that enough? I don't know that I can change an entire planet's culture, and I can't promise acceptance, but I can promise love from two people. I know it's not everything."
I don't have anything to give you in return. I don't have a place. I don't have a family. I can't even bond.
Will you share your crazy, delusional, ignorant fanaticism?
Every day.
How about your intelligent, beautiful, resourceful, unique genius.
Maybe not as much, but I'll try.
Then that's enough, Limieth. You are my everything.
What if I'm really bad at sex?
Let me take care of that.
I'm really scared.
I can see that. I can feel that. Let me help.
Okay.
I won't hurt you.
Sex looks like it's gonna hurt. You just bit me.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to hurt you.
Knew it.
Reverie will help.
Bring Metagel.
You're turning me on. Stop it. He lifted her gently and put her back on the bed. Stay here.
I have to get out at some point. I need to eat. Between you and Thane, I haven't been able to leave.
Just this one last time. Stay here. I'll be right back. She crawled back under the covers, grumbling. He moved downstairs, called in to work and mentioned a delay, said he'd be in at a specified time mid-morning. Palavin time was tricky, but he made a call. It was late, but hopefully not too late. Mom,
Garrus, I'm so glad to see you.
me too, Mom. I have a request. Are you alone?
Yes? What do you need?
I'm bonded to Lal Shepard. I would like your blessing. I would like her to hear your blessing. Please.
She smiled. Of course. Bring her home to meet me. Please.
I will. Scheduling is difficult.
I can imagine. Yet you've forded rivers. You can ford this one.
I promise. Invite her.
Of course. Where is she?
He took the stairs back up at his customary clip and kept the screen muted temporarily until he pulled her into his lap and then reactivated. Ava, this is my bondmate, Lal Shepard. We haven't had a ceremony. We can't change how Palavin moves, but our hearts move to each other.
Hello? Villarine Vicarian took her first look at her son's bondmate. Nothing but joy and pride. Welcome to the family. I apologize for the limited blessing, but I give it with all my heart. You are welcome in our madness.
That's our clan home.
Yes, you must come and visit. I understand your desire for secrecy, and I thank you, Commander Shepard, for returning so many Turians to their homes, to their families. There are many Vicarians who owe you their lives and their service. Perhaps we cannot change all hearts at once, but you will change them one at a time, as my son has. Someday there will be no need for secrets. These walls listen when you speak. They are old, and they will not bend easily, but they will listen. Whenever you are under this roof and wherever you walk, Lal Shepard, you are family. Call upon me. I would be delighted to hear from you. Kara's smile was shy and grateful, a red flush creeping up her throat. Thank you.
Thank you, Ava. We'll see you soon.
Villarine inclined her head with a smile. I look forward to meeting you. I wish you both joy. She ended the call and Kara turned her face back into his chest.
Garrus stroked her hair. I have the blessing of my Ava, Kara. That's all a Turian needs. By my body and her blessing, we are bonded. She knows why you don't want to tell everyone. So do I. Is that enough everything for you? No bullseye. Tell only the people who love and support what you are trying to do. You shared a perfect world with your parents and nothing more was needed. It is, in my world, the essence of absolute. Nothing more needed.
It's perfect.